Baltic states, 3 countries, are like on the top of the anti-Russian pie, social pie.
We have reconfirmed unwavering support to sovereignty, independence and territorial integrity of Ukraine. The Council of Europe must continue support to Ukraine and its people as long as necessary. We condemn in the strongest terms Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine. Such a behavior can never be normalized. Russia must comply with its international obligations and withdraw its forces from Ukraine, as well as from Georgia and Moldova. We must ensure comprehensive accountability. It means responsibility of Russia as a state for violations of international law. And it means individual liability for the most serious crimes of international concern.
I know personally why. Please help my audience to understand why, shortly, if you can.
Can you repeat it, please?
Yeah, the question is, so the Baltic states, 3 countries, Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania, are very anti-Russian. The position is very clear and very anti-Russian and anti-war and very pro-Ukrainian. I know why, because I belong to Latvia, I'm a Latvian citizen. Can you please explain to my audience why is this the case?
Yes, I would say that's not, like, I wouldn't say it's anti-Russian, because of course we have Russian nationalist, like Russian ethnic people here in Latvia as well.
Let's say
here.
anti-Kremlin, anti-modern, anti-Putin.
Anti-Kremlin, yes, exactly, anti-Putin, anti-Kremlin, because it's just clear for us. We have shared quite the same history. We were occupied. We have lived through all that. We understand completely what Ukraine is going through now. And that's why it's like not even, we don't have to think twice to know what's wrong from right, because we have lived through that. And even my generation, and I believe the next generations, they will never forget about all the deportations, about all the horror that we experienced. And now seeing what's happening in Ukraine, all those horrors now in this century, nowadays, that someone can just enter, attack country, invade, start full-scale war, do awful things, like unimaginable things to people. And it's just, yeah, we cannot, we don't even think about it, where the truth is. We know it already. And we don't, like, we see those evidence, what's happening today. It's clear. Of course, we have to be really pro-Ukraine. We have actually, I'm very proud of my country, about our government, about our people, how much we are actually donating. We have given so much to Ukraine. It's, I think, 1.4% of our GDP.
Exactly.
So we are not the richest European country, but we have tried our best to support both, like in military ways, in humanitarian aid. The people also invest their time. They do voluntary work. They donate their clothes.
Latvian journalists.
Yes, exactly. That's another thing. We try to cover this information. It's also a way to support Ukraine, just to cover the information, to keep, although this full-scale war is already been here for such a long time, people are getting tired, from all those news and everything. We have to continue covering it. We have to continue informing people, informing the world, actually. That's what I believe our leaders who are going abroad, they are talking about it. And I think there is a shift partially because of Latvia, because of Estonia, of Lithuania.
I know that. I can assure you this is the case.
Yeah, finally, other countries are listening to us. And I would actually want to invite other countries to give more, to do more, because if we, such a little country with a lot of problems, of course, with not such a strong economy, etc., I'm sure others can give more too. And that's going to put an end to this war sooner. And that's what we want. The sooner it ends, the better it is for all the Europe.
Let us hope that this will be the case in the nearest future. I'll do my best to ensure that is the case. Trust me. Let us be honest with ourselves at first. The route of illegal migration through Belarus has been tested by illegals numerous times and is highly likely to remain relevant both in short and long term. According to what the State Security Service of Latvia has reported in 2022, the migratory pressure artificially created by Lukashenko regime on the border with Latvia was active during the past year as well, reports the State Security Service. During the year, the State Border Guard prevented more than 5,000 cases when persons from countries at risk of terrorism try to illegally cross the Latvian border. Russia also plays its role in the flow of illegal migration, the territory of which is used by citizens of third countries as a transfer camp on their way to Belarus. Last year, 5,286 people were prevented from illegally crossing the Latvian-Belarusian border, and 217 were allowed to cross the border on humanitarian grounds. All this talks about borders with Belarus and Russia. Can we finally consider that these two countries are hostile alliance and treat it accordingly? Do you think this is the case, that these countries are too hostile to democracy, to the collective West alliance? What do we do with it? Shall we treat it accordingly, finally?
Absolutely, yeah. Actually, we have, what's the word? So we have made a group in the parliament, which is Deputy Support Group for Democratic Belarus. And so we are starting this also on that level. We want to cooperate with those people, with those leaders who are working, who are dedicating their lives for democratic Belarus, because the regime that's there at the power at the moment, it's of course it's also endangering Latvia. Just as you said, we have so many refugees and people who are illegal migrants. They are trying to cross the border not in the correct way, illegally. They are forced, and etc. And it's really the thing that putting Latvia's security at risk, because we have to dedicate so much energy to dealing with this issue. And so yeah, it's not just Russia, it's also a Belarus border, which is kind of, and what happened with Wagner thing, now they entering Belarus. So of course it's raising a lot of questions. We cannot be sure about how things are going to develop. So yeah, we have to be very, very careful with also what's happening in Belarus as well. It's for sure, completely.